Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and this is Charmed by Ashley. And today I have a really fun project for you guys. This is the Janome Inspire project. And look at this. How gorgeous is she? This is going to be the #1 bag that you're going to want this spring and summer for all the things that you plan on doing. Whether it's camping, traveling, going out, all the things. This is just the funnest bag that you're going to need this in your arsenal of bags. It has 3 beautiful pockets. We have one on the front. We have, of course, the large one, which is very roomy, lots of space in there. And then we also have our hidden zipper pocket on the inside for your valuables, you know, passport, phone, camera, anything that you want to bring. It is made out of a beautiful cotton fabric that we have quilted. So if you're new to quilting fabric, we're going to learn that in this tutorial. And trust me, it is super easy. I'm going to take you through everything step by step so that you can have maximum success and be able to achieve this purse. So if you're like, oh my goodness, I could never, you can. And I will be with you every step of the way. You also will find the full pattern with photographic instructions over at the Janome Life blog. And so I'll have that link below as well. So if you're not a video person, then you can go over there and get that pattern. And it is completely free to you as a gift from Janome. And how lovely is that? Because, I mean, I love it. I love it so much that I made it in another color. And then I made it again in another color. Oh my goodness. I made this beautiful strawberry one, which I already know is going to be coming with me to go strawberry picking. How cute. You can really have fun with your fabrics with this bag. You can have fun with your zipper tapes. I use a beautiful black gunmetal zipper on this one with a little froggy zipper pull and a little heart one at the top. The cotton fabrics, this is actually a batik from Northcott. This is magenta from the line Hexies. So you don't have to just use, fun cottons. You can go and have fun with batik cotton. And I have the batik on the inside as well. And I love that the pattern isn't overwhelming and it really lets you be able to see the zipper tape, which it is a beautiful floral, and then appreciate the actual style of the bag. So again, have tons of fun. Go over to the Janome Life blog, get the pattern, download. There is a template there for you and then measurements for all the other pieces. We're going to learn how to make strapping, adjustable straps, putting in these beautiful zippers, which again is not scary, trust me. And in the next clip, I'm going to obviously talk about all the things that you're going to need to be able to make this particular bag. And yeah, so I hope that you enjoy. Comment if you have any questions. If you do decide to make this, we would love to see this over at the Janome Life blog, or you can come over to Janome Canada, their Instagram, or my Instagram. Share your photos with us, and we would love to share it with the community and inspire others to take a chance and try out the new Janome Inspire project for 2026. From me, Charmed by Ashley. So again, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next clip. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go through all the materials that you're going to need to be able to make this beautiful bag. I am going to be making it out of cotton fabric, which I think is the best option for this bag, which is my next point, is that if you are a beginner sewist and you do have a beginner level machine, then you should be able to achieve this bag no problem, because we are using thinner fabrics such as cotton. So I have these 2 beautiful cottons here. This is going to be my exterior. It is from the batik line from Northcott, and it is called Hexies, and I think it is beautiful and bright, and this is the magenta color. So this is going to be great for the exterior of the bag. It's going to be beautiful and bright, but it's still, you're still going to be able to see all the zippers and everything, so you're going to be able to appreciate what the bag looks like. And then I just fell in love with this beautiful, this is the Pop Dots, and this is again another batik fabric from Northcott. And I thought this would be great not to overpower with the hexes, because I really want that pink to stand out, but then we'll have accents of pinks with our zippers on the inside and on the outside. So this is going to be the contrasting fabric. Now I do have a zipper by the yard that I'm going to be using for all the zippers. There's going to be 3 separate zipper compartments. That's going to be the front, the top, and then the interior. I'm going to be using this one here for the interior. It's not as pretty, and that's why, is because it's going to be on the inside of the bag. No one's going to see it, so I don't want to use up my beautiful zipper tapes. These ones here have a beautiful floral print, and I thought that that would actually kind of work well with the pattern. It almost will showcase the zipper a little bit more. So I have that plus my size 3 zipper poles all ready to go right here. If you're new to Zipper by the Yard, I do have a video talking all about Zipper by the Yard, and it is something that I highly recommend getting into, because then you can just cut off however much zipper you need, and then none of it goes to waste. So I have all that. The other types of notions that we're going to need is we're going to be using a 1-inch square ring, and then a 1-inch adjustable slider. That's for our adjustable strap. And then I'm also going to be using a little, this here is an end cap for the zipper, but you can use a fabric zipper tab if you wish. So I have this, and then there's a little set screw that comes with this. I really love these. They're quick and easy, and they make the bag look a little bit more professional. You don't need anything fancy to be able to install these. You just need a little precision toolkit, so a little star screwdriver to be able to set that screw, and then that's it. So I really love those, and it just kind of finishes off the end of my zipper. And then if you wish, you know, you can add a tag. I have a little handmade tag here that I think I'm going to add to the front of it, and then it comes with this little metal plate that you put on the back, and I'll show you how to install all of these things. And then after that, we just need to work with our interfacing. So you don't need anything too crazy. I'm just going to be using some medium weight interfacing. That is a fusible. I'm going to put this on the back of all of my cotton pieces. Now I am going to be, for the exterior pieces, I'm going to be quilting them, because I think it just will be so beautiful, and I really love the look of this bag in a quilted fabric. We're going to talk about how to quilt this fabric. You do not need any special machine. Just use your regular sewing machine to be able to quilt this fabric. And that is why I have this here. This is a batting. I'm pretty sure it's like a 1/4 of an inch batting. Nothing too crazy or fancy. It's just some plain batting, and we're going to use that to put onto the back of our cotton pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of my pieces, and then I will meet you back here to get started with quilting the exterior pieces of fabric. Okay, so I wanted to just pop in here and let you know I'm not quite finished preparing all of my pieces, but we are going to be cutting out a piece of fabric that's going to be larger than the template. So this is the template that you're going to receive when you go and download this pattern. It is a free pattern from Janome. I might have already said that, but it's just wow. So essentially, I just want the fabric to be larger than this, because we're going to be quilting it first, and then we'll cut out the pattern piece later. So I cut out a healthy amount, maybe a couple inches around all 4 sides. I will have measurements listed in the pattern, so you don't have to think about it, but just know that a larger piece of fabric, and then a piece of batting that's going to go on the back. And again, I cut that a little bit larger as well, because things tend to shift and shrink as you quilt. And of course I did it for the front as well. The front is a little bit bigger because we're going to be cutting this one in half to do the top and the bottom of that front zipper. So just keep that in mind. This back panel here is only going to have just a plain cutout of the pattern piece. Okay. So after that, I did want to also mention that I am cutting out the strap. I'm making it with the fabric. You can, of course, use webbing if you wish. So if you want to just totally skip that part of making this bag, make it out of webbing. It'll be a lot quicker. But I am planning to use, again, the hexes fabric for my strap. And as you can see, it is not going to be long enough. So I do have to cut out multiple strips and then attach them. So if you have done any sort of bias binding on quilts, then you will know I kind of do it the same way. I just like to take my 2 pieces of fabric and then I put them kind of diagonally like this, and then we just sew across here, and then that will create a continuous strap. And I cut out probably about 60 inches of fabric. Okay, I have all of my pieces cut out. I have my lining 2 pieces that were cut out using the template. I put medium weight interfacing onto the back of these. I have, these are the front zipper linings. I did not put interfacing onto these ones only because I don't want to add too much bulk to the front panel. So if you want to do it, that's up to you. It depends on your sewing machine. You will need a little bit more of a robust machine, the thicker you add to, or you could also add your interfacing on and just keep it out of the seam allowances, which is also an option. It just will add some more strength to the exterior of the bag, but I myself find that it's not necessary if you are choosing to do the quilting like I am. So those are the front zipper linings. Then we have the interior zipper linings. I'm choosing to do the exterior fabric, which is always a fun little surprise on the inside zipper pocket. So I also use the medium weight interfacing on the back of these. And then I have my little tabbies here. These are going to go at the end of the front zipper. So I have 2 for each side, so 4 in total. And if you are choosing to do a tab at the end of your top zipper, then you would also have a piece of fabric for that. But I am choosing to use one of those little caps. And then I have my strap here all ready to go with the medium weight interfacing on the back. And then I have my exterior pieces. So like I said before, we're going to have a larger piece for the front of the bag, and then we'll have a smaller piece for the back, and the back will be this template, and then the front will have the zipper, and once we install the zipper, then we will cut out the actual template. I just find it a lot easier, and to make sure that everything is nice and accurate, that is how we're going to do it. And I think you'll find that it's a lot easier as well. So from here, now we can plan out our quilting. So I have my front exterior fabric here, and I am going to be using a nice long quilt ruler and a friction pen. Now, depending on the fabric that you choose, because I am using a lighter fabric, I'll be able to see my friction pen. These ones disappear with the heat of your iron. So I will have a link to anything that I use in this video in the description box or over at my Amazon storefront. These are great to have. If your fabric is too dark, then I would definitely think about using a chalk roller, just something so that you can see, or you can just, wing it and then just do whatever design you wish. So all I do is I just kind of choose what I want on my fabric. I'm going to be doing the diamonds, so I'm just going to start with one line. And the great thing about these friction pens is that if you start developing your pattern and you're like, oh no, this looks bad. I don't like that diamond. I don't like that. It looks like a square. I want it to look more like a diamond. Then you can just take it over to that iron, press it super quick, all the lines disappear, and it's like it never happened. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. And hopefully it turns out the way that I want it to. But with the power and the magic of, video or movie, I have already done the back panel up, and as you can see, all my diamonds have been laid out. So what I'm going to do now is you can place a couple pins if you want, but I'm just going to start sewing. Just use your regular sewing machine, your regular needle. Maybe bump up your stitch length a little bit so that you have some longer stitches, and it also will go a little bit quicker if you do that as well. And then we're just going to sew. I made my rows 2 inches apart, so it's going to be a little bit quicker. So if you choose to do 1 inch, making them smaller, it will take some time, but I find it'll only take probably about 10 minutes per panel when I have a nice large diamond pattern like this. Okay, so we have finished quilting, and all you need to do now, if you did use a friction pen, is you can go ahead, use an iron, and just press this beautifully. All those lines will disappear. And with the back panel, you can go ahead and cut that out. So that is what I did for this one using my template, and I pressed out all of my friction pen markings, so it just looks beautiful and quilted, and I'm absolutely obsessed. So now I'm just going to take this piece, and I will iron it, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it now. So I need the bottom part, that's going to be the bottom of the zipper, to be at least 8 inches. So I'm just going to measure up from the bottom. It has to be at least 8 inches, but it doesn't need to be perfect. As long as you have enough, at least 5 inches on the top. Again, that is plenty. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that and just try to make it nice and even with your pattern. If you have a pattern like mine, like that, and now I have 2 separate pieces that we can work with when we are putting in our zipper. So I'm just going to go ahead, press this quick, get rid of all those lines, and then we can actually start to create our bag. I just wanted to show you quickly that I went ahead and I ironed my strap here. And so all I did was I took my long piece of fabric and I folded it in half, folded both sides in 1 inch, and then folded it in half again. And that's my strap. So I'm just gonna have to sew down both sides to create even perfect straps. And you can use a longer stitch length as well to make it look nice and beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that ironing, and then we can actually start to put our bag together. I'm so excited. Okay, so now we're going to work on the front zipper of our bag. We have our lining fabrics here. We have our finished quilt panels here. And then we also have our zipper with our zipper pull, and then the 4 little tabs that we're gonna put at either end of our zipper. So I am using zipper by the yard. So I'm gonna have to put my zipper pull on now. So I have this little handy contraption that I use, but you can get zipper jigs. Again, I will have that stuff in the description box or at the Amazon storefront. So all you do is you just slip your little zipper pull into your contraption, and then you open your zipper and then feed in the zipper tape. And after a little bit of practice, then you will be really good at getting that on. So then we're going to go ahead and sew on our little tabs here. So all you need to do is take one, and we're going to put that on the top, and then we're going to take the other one and we will put that on the bottom. We're just kind of sandwiching the end of our zipper to finish that off. And then we will take in the exact same way, and then the other one, just like that. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on either side to secure them onto the end of our zipper, and then we're going to flip them out and we'll do a nice little top stitching. Okay, so I like to use a walking foot when I do this. It's not necessary, but it just makes it for a prettier result in my opinion. So I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch seam, and then I take it out, and then I will flip over just like that. See how it's an extension of our zipper? We want it to be the same width as our zipper. And then I'm just going to go back over it, and I'll increase my seam allowance. And then we have a nice top stitching there. This is why I like the walking foot because sometimes it's harder to get over the hump of the zipper teeth with a regular foot. And then you end up getting stitches that aren't consistent. But, all right, and then repeat, pull that out. And just like that. So now we have an extended zipper essentially. Okay, so now we can go ahead and install the zipper. It has been fully prepared, and because it is zipper by the yard, as you can see, the zipper teeth are still technically interlocked. Once you zip it up and unzip it, then all the teeth will come apart, but I like to leave it like this just because it makes for a better zipper installation. So I just leave my zipper pull in the center, and then so it's like keeps all the teeth together. And then we are going to take our zipper, and it's going to open from left to right. So I'm going to put that with my zipper teeth down. And just kind of center it. You want to make sure that this fits in between the fabric. There is going to be a bunch trimmed off eventually, but we don't need to worry about that. Just make sure that it fits nicely. And I just like to do one piece of fabric at a time. So we're doing the exterior first. You really want to make this zipper beautiful because it is on the front of your bag. People are going to see it, and you really want to make sure that it is nice and beautiful. So then I'm going to put my lining fabric, and the lining fabric might not be the same size as your exterior fabric. That's okay. And that is all going to be fixed once we cut our template out. So just reposition those clips to include the lining fabric. And then we can sew straight along there. Never be afraid to change out your accessories. Now I'm going to unscrew my walking foot, and I'm going to put my regular foot back on. But then we're going to change over to our zipper foot, and most machines come with a zipper foot, so you should be fine using that. I highly recommend using a zipper foot because your regular foot is too big. So using that zipper foot, we're just going to put that on. And now we are going to begin to sew close to the zipper teeth. So those zipper teeth are starting down here because we do have that piece of fabric here. Just going to move the needle over to the left side of our zipper foot, and I'm just aligning the side of my foot with the edge of the fabric, and you'll know once you get to your zipper teeth. I can feel that now. Now the important thing is that we know where our zipper pull is. It's down here. So I'm going to sew a bunch here, leaving a space here at the top, and then we can just zip up that zipper to get it out of the way, because we don't want to end up hitting our zipper pull. Okay, so now I can just kind of lift my fabric. I'll lift my presser foot, and then I can zip it up all the way. Put that back down. And make sure your fabric stays nicely aligned. Keep going. Okay, so after that, then you're just going to take your lining fabric and we're going to flip it over the back, and we're going to do a top stitch right along the exterior fabric right there, and that's just going to hold things into place. It's going to keep your lining down so that when you're using your bag, your lining doesn't get stuck in the zipper. So it's a very important step. So now I'm going to actually take my needle. Depending on your zipper foot, you could either change the side that your needle's on, because there sometimes are zipper feet that have two separate spots where you can install it into your machine. Or mine, I'm just going to be moving my needle over so that it's on the right side. And now I'm just going to about keep it like 2 millimeters away from the edge there, and we're just going to begin sewing. And we're making sure that the lining is pulled taut, and we're not going to hit your pole. Got to be careful when you're going past it like I was, because sometimes you can bounce your pole over to the left side and then end up smashing into it. So just be very careful, take your time. And again, this is something that people will see, so you want to try to make it nice. You can lengthen your top stitch. You can use decorative thread. You could even use a fancy stitch if you don't want to have just your regular traditional top stitching. And that is perfect. Okay, so that is one half. Now we're going to do the other half. So we have our second piece of exterior quilted fabric, and this is where it was cut off. So I'm going to put this at the top here and just kind of align it with the bottom fabric. Okay, and then we will again begin to clip. Just like that. Now we have a second piece of lining fabric, and it is going to be larger. And that is because maybe you've made bags before and the lining fabric is usually the same size as the panel. So you would think that it would be the same size as this, but it's not. It is a little bit bigger, because what's going to happen is once you sew it on, that fabric is going to stay down, which is going to create the pouch for our front pocket. So we aren't going to be flipping this fabric up when we sew this first seam, but we will be flipping up the exterior quilted panel. And then once this is all cut and sewn together, then you'll have that front pouch beautifully lined. So let's go ahead and sew right down there. Okay, and once again, I'm just moving my needle back to the left. We're being aware as to where we have our zipper pull, and that is down at the very end, which is perfect. And we're just going to begin sewing. Okay, I'm approaching my zipper pull, so I'm going to lift my presser foot and I'm just going to open it. Now it does sometimes make your zipper pull, your zipper tape a little, oh no, we're good. Okay, the zipper I think is still closed. Perfect. All right, we'll continue on. Okay, so now all you're going to do is you're going to flip up that top panel, and we're going to keep that interior flipped down. So we can go ahead and again, we're going to keep that seam allowance pushed up this way, and then we will flatten that, and then we'll do another beautiful top stitching right along there to finish off our front pocket. Okay. Keeping our seam allowance to one side. Okay, so now we're going to grab our template piece, and there is a dashed line here. So what I like to do, just to make sure I get perfect placement, is I'm actually going to fold it down at that dash line. And it doesn't matter, like I'm going to be doing it like this. Technically the pattern piece is upside down, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to use that and I'm going to center it with the zipper. So if you need to mark where the center of your zipper is, or you can just kind of eyeball it, you just want to line up that fold with the edge of the fabric that is touching your zipper. And then I'm just going to take some pattern weights and I will just place those. And now I'm going to cut out my pattern piece. So just take a nice ruler. I like to do all of the 4 corners or the 4 straight sides, just to make sure everything is perfect and accurate. If things shift, just be aware. Just like that. Perfect. And then I'll just use some fabric scissors and I will cut out the notches. Okay, perfect. Now you can remove your pattern pieces and we can see our beautiful finished pattern piece now with a front pocket. Now you'll know if you've done it correctly if the back pocket, all of that fabric comes right down to the end. So everything should align up right there. And your zipper is beautiful and centered. And now we can grab all of our pieces. So now you have your front and your back panel completed. And we are actually going to install an interior zipper next. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can skip ahead and you can just finish up your bag. But I love to have a little interior zipper pocket. It's great to keep, extra valuable things nice and safe. It's super easy. So if you are kind of worried and you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, I am going to be here for you. Don't worry. It is actually a lot easier than you think. So we're just going to be putting it into one side of our pocket, inside of our lining fabric. So I have 2 lining here. We're just going to put one to the side for now. And we have this one that we are actually going to lay face down onto our lining. We have our zipper that I need to prepare quickly. I'm just using a normal run-of-the-mill zipper. So now we're going to grab a ruler and I'm going to measure down 1 inch and we're going to place our fabric. Okay, so it's lined up with the 1 inch. And then we're going to move our ruler again so that the 2-inch marking is lined up with the edge of our lining fabric. And we have a line here that is 1 inch down on our lining fabric. And we want it to be 1 inch away from the edge of the pocket lining piece. And then I'm just going to draw a line. So it's 1 inch from here and 1 inch from there. And then I'm going to draw another line right below it that is going to be 3/8 or 1 centimeter. The exact same, just like that. And then I like to put a little kind of triangle right in the sides And what we're going to do is we're going to sew these two parallel lines, stopping and starting at the exact same spot. We're not going to be sewing this as a rectangle, just two parallel lines, and you'll see why after. Okay, now using my regular foot, we're just going to begin. We're just locking our stitches, sewing down the one side, stop and lock, and then we'll do the same thing right next to it. So now we're going to go ahead and take some sharp scissors. I got a little rubber end on those. And we are going to put a little slit in there. And we're just going to cut down the center of this little rectangle. And we had our little triangle there. We're just going to kind of follow that and cut into where our seam line began. And we'll come back out and do the same thing. So we have those little triangles like that. And then we'll flip it over and we'll do the exact same thing down the center. So that's why it's really important to have nice sharp scissors. Just get nice and close to those stitches, but try not to snip them. Just like that. So after that, you're going to take your fabric and you're actually going to push it through the window that you created. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold it. Fold it right where that seam is and create a beautiful rectangle window that our zipper is going to hide behind. Now, because we're using cotton fabric, you can give this a press, so you don't have to use these clips, but just to kind of get it started, I'll use the clips. But cotton, at least this batik, really does want to stay where I tell it to, which is nice. Okay, so I went ahead and gave it a press there. And if you find you have a little bit of puckering in the corner, you might need to snip a little bit closer. I think mine is okay. This side's perfect, but this one's, I think it'll be okay. And then those two little triangles, those should be tucked in behind there. And then when you go to do your top stitching, that'll catch those little triangles and you won't have to worry about those ever again. So now we're going to take our zipper. And again, I want it to be opening from left to right. And I just place it behind. And I'm going to top stitch that zipper into place. Now, if you are having a hard time with this step, you can use glue, you can use double-sided tape. But I don't. I like to be a rebel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it over to the machine and I'm just going to sew it while it is kind of loose like this. You want to make sure that you have enough zipper teeth on both sides. So when you sew over it, you will catch them. And yeah, that's all. It's just a nice top stitch right around the whole box. And then just moving our zipper, pull out of the way, and then I just like to place it so that it has a nice even amount. And then we're going to lift. And then when we come back this side, you can adjust it so it's nice and even. move that pole. Going over it and back where we started. Okay, so now that we have that, we obviously don't have a pouch for it, so we have to take our last lining piece and we are going to place that there. Now we are going to be leaving a hole in the bottom of this pocket to flip our bag right sides out in the end. If you are choosing not to do this step, then you will have to leave a hole in the bottom of the main lining. So just keep that in mind, but that is no problem. That's a quick, simple little fix there. And now we're just going to sew all the way around our lining. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull it away from the lining fabric of the main bag. So I like to do it from the top, and I'll just kind of fold it like this and then sew, leaving about a 4 or 5 inch gap. You can make it pretty large, and then back up here and then across the top. Using our regular foot, just sew a 3/4 or 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'll make it down to the bottom here. We'll just go a little bit. I want about 1.5 inches. I will lock my stitches and then give that 4 or 5 inch gap, and then continue sewing along the rest of the lining. And then do the top. Okay, so now our lining is completed, and we have that hole in the bottom there that we will use later on. And now we can install our last and final zipper and actually complete our bag. So we have all 4 pieces. So I'm just going to prepare my zipper. Just like that. And now this zipper is going to be done a little bit different. And so what I'm going to do is, now that I have my zipper pull on, I'm actually going to open up my zipper. And I want to miter the ends of the zipper. Now there's a few ways that people like to do it, and I like to live dangerously. So if you are a beginner or if you are young and you shouldn't be playing with lighters, maybe do the other ones that I suggest, which is you take the end of your miter and fold it over just like that. And then you can either glue, tape, or tack it with stitches into place. Now, if you're like me and you like to live on the edge, then I like to burn my zipper a little bit. And it's so fast. It just melts the tape ever so slightly. It does not, I don't do it too much so that it actually burns the spot that you see. But it is hot. But it's no hotter than, I would say, like candle wax. There we go. Done. Okay. You can install your cap now, but I'm actually going to wait because I might be removing this pole. When you make bags like this, it is okay to remove the pole and then put it on last. So that is something that's really exciting, but I like to leave the pole on in the beginning just so that I can get perfect placement. So now I'm going to take the front of my bag and then the plain lining piece, and we will put the zipper in on that side first. So this zipper is not going to go into the side here. So that's why we mitered it. So I'm going to give it about a 1/2 inch of space, and then I'm going to start to clip my zipper. Okay. Now at the end, it's also going to veer off, and I'm going to show you how to do that at the sewing machine. But if you want, once you have it placed, you can open your zipper all the way to get that zipper pull out of the way, because we have that extra length that is on purpose. So I open it all the way, and then I have access to the one side of the zipper, and it makes things a lot easier. So then we're going to take our lining fabric and we're going to place that second. And just reposition your clips. Now I'm just going to show you here quickly what I'm going to be doing essentially is when we get about an inch away from the end here, I'm going to be pulling it out of the seam. So we have another 1/2 inch of fabric right there. Okay, but we'll do that at the machine, and make sure that your fabric is nice and even. So again, using our zipper foot, it might be a little bit hard getting over that little zipper. So if you want to use your little hump jumper, just like that. That all makes it so much easier. And then you can remove it and then continue. This is a hump jumper if you want to just closer look at it. It's very nice. Sometimes it comes with your machine, so you might already have this and be like, what the heck is that for? Okay, now we're about an inch away, so I'm just going to lift my foot. I'm going to veer it off, just like that. And then we'll just continue sewing. And that is how it should look. So we want about a 1/2 inch of fabric right there that we're able to work with. Okay, perfect. So now we can zip our zipper back up again. And we're not going to be doing any top stitching until later. So now we can get our back exterior piece and our lining that has the pocket. Here we go. And then we're going to do the same thing. Just kind of push the lining down out of the way. And we're going to clip. Now the reason why I want to make sure, and I keep my pull on, is I want to make sure that that is perfectly even right there. My zipper is going on beautifully. Okay, and we're again going to veer it off, but we'll do that at the machine. And we will take our lining and then again reposition our little clips, and then you can open it up and then move that zipper out of the way, and then we can sew the other half of our zipper on wherever it is. Again, it's gonna go like that. I'm going to use my little hump jumper. I'm going to lift my foot. I put it all the way in so that the back of the foot is on top of the hump jumper. Because this is a zipper foot, the sides might not fit on it. Okay, let's reposition it again. There we go. Perfect. Now we're about an inch away, and we're going to do the same thing, pulling that zipper down, veering it off, and continue sewing all the way down. Okay, so now we have that done, so we can flip it out and you can kind of see. You want to make sure that your zippers have pretty much the same amount of space right here. And same with here, we got about a ½ an inch left in the seam without the zipper. And now we're going to take our exterior fabric, put those with the right sides together, and the lining fabric with the right sides together. And we're going to clip on all 4 sides. Now, when it comes to the zipper, I am going to take my zipper pull off, and you can have the zipper ends kind of just out, and if you want to sort of pin the zipper tape on the inside, just to get it out of the way, because when we go to sew this side of the bag, it might cause some problems or issues. So just want it to be like completely out of the way. And then we can continue pinning. Just remember that those pins are there so you don't hurt yourself. And it gets a little bulky with the quilt panels, but it's not too bulky. That's why I left the interfacing out of these lining pieces, because they really don't matter. So now what you're going to do is you're going to sew down the raw edges, and then there's a notch here. So there's 2 notches here. We're not even going to touch these notches, so you're just going to sew, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to sew this, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to sew that, and then this, leaving that notch, this, leaving that notch, and this. Now we don't need to leave any holes in any of these because we already have that hole left in this pocket here for turning. If you didn't do this one, then this is where you would leave a hole in the lining of your bag. So now we can go ahead and sew that with a 3/8 or 1 centimeter seam allowance. When you get to the end of every seam, I want you to back stitch to make sure you lock your stitches. Beginning and end. Side. Like that. It's gonna be a little bulky where the zipper is. Take your time if you need to. But because it's all cotton, you shouldn't have a problem. But if you do, feel free to use stronger needle, like a leather or a denim. It's amazing what changing your needle will do if you can't get through the thickness of your project. Okay, so now that we've done all 4 sides, now we're going to sew these notches. That is the bottom of our bag. So what you do is you just spread open the hole there so that the side seam and the bottom seam come together. And then we're just going to clip that and we will sew that. And that'll box the bottom of our bag. So I'll just show you one more time. So we're just opening up the hole. Just like that. And you can kind of nest your seams. And then clip. And you're doing this to all 4 corners. Like that. Make sure all the layers of fabric are caught when you're doing it with the exterior fabric. See how I opened it? You can see here this is wrong because only the lining side is here. So we want to make sure that we are opening up the fabric that is the exterior fabric only. There we go. Perfect, just like that. So now we're just going to sew all those with 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, just make sure that you backstitch. Make it nice and strong. If you have thick fabric, sometimes I will even go back over that seam just because I want it to be nice and tight. Make sure that fabric is laying nice and flat. Sometimes I'll just do that and lock. So I want to make sure that this is really nice and flat. Same with this. It's a little bulky in the front. Sometimes I wish that backstitch button was somewhere else. Okay, so now we have all 4 of our corners boxed, and now you're going to take your external bag and we're going to kind of spread it open and we are going to push the lining down into the bag. Doesn't need to be perfect, but we do want to have it sunken in so that it's not bunched up at the top. Okay, so this is going to give us access to the ends, and that is where we're going to begin to install our strap. So what you want to do is for one side, if you want to go in and open up your little interior pocket, we can take our strap and tuck it on the inside, and then we can pull it out on one side. I like the strap to come out the side where the zipper opening is, so that is on this side. So all I'm going to do is take the end and I'm going to push it through. Okay, I can stick that back in now. So as you can see, we have the strap sticking out. Now I like to have it sticking out just a little bit, like an inch, just to make sure that it is good and in the seam. And it should fit in between the notch, just like that. Okay, so if you want to clip it there, and then on the other side, which I failed to do, but we're going to do it super quick. We're going to take the end of our strap and cut off a piece, and then we're going to put a rectangle ring on it like that. I'm going to do it that way because the seam of the rectangle ring is now in the fabric. Now that is going to go on the opposite side. I'm going to go ahead and tack this quick so that it stays nice and even. Now this is where things get a little bit thick because of the strap. And that's why I definitely recommend you get a leather needle or a denim needle, because we're going to be going through a few layers of fabric when we put this strap in. Okay, so now basically what you're going to do is you're just going to sew the notch. Okay, so it's just like up, across, and back up. And we're going to do that on both sides. I'm just going to take this strap. The strap isn't doing anything right now. We have it poking out the other end, and the same thing, just sew the notch. Now I'm changing back to my zipper foot, and the reason why is because no, I'm not using a zipper, but when you have tight places, a lot of times it makes things a lot easier. Now, when you start to sew that notch, there is the zipper right here. It's kind of floating there. So you're going to sew a 1/2 inch or 3/8. We want to make sure that we don't hit the zipper. And that's why I like to use the zipper foot. And we pinned the zipper end out of the way. Okay. So now we shouldn't hit anything, but just be sure. Now this is a little bit tricky, but we just want to make sure this is a nice boxed corner. So hopefully you can see that. We have our ring in there and we don't want to sew on top of it. Like I said, it gets a little tight here, or it's a little tough. And feel free to go over it a few times, just because we want to make sure that our strap doesn't get ripped out when we use our bag. So sometimes I'll go back and add another row of stitching, but there will also be an extra top stitching, so there will be at least two rows of stitching when we go to finish up our bag. Okay, so now we're going to do the other one, and we're going to back stitch. We'll lift our presser foot, try to make it nice and flat. Make sure that your strap is centered with the seam. And now we're going to sew across. Might not be perfect, but that's okay. Nothing's perfect. And you can see that the zipper teeth is right here, and that's why I like using that zipper foot, because I can get nice and close. I wouldn't be able to do this as well if I was just using my regular foot. So now we can use that pocket, and we can flip our bag right sides out. And if you want to trim any excess strap, you can do that. I kind of just leave it. Okay, my pins are coming out. So remember, don't forget about those pins. I forgot. We're just going to box our bag. And then I'll go ahead and have a point turner handy, because we want to go in and poke out the notches that are where our zipper begins and ends. So you can pull at the zipper a little bit. And you can also poke out the fabric. Okay. And then the same on the other side. That's why I really like to have a nice wide opening inside of that interior zipper pocket, so that I'm able to do this easily. So make it as big as you can. It's not going to hurt anything. Now we can slip the lining inside. Oh my goodness, I'm loving the color and the batik. Oh my goodness. And I love that the strap now I see a little bit of pulling here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to that spot, and I'm going to cut into the corner of the notch. Yeah, that will help a lot. Just don't cut those stitches. Kind of help to relax the fabric. Again, it gets a little bulky though, so you're just going to top stitch and then down the notch and then back around and then down the other notch. I'm going to start at the back. Never start at the front, because it's probably not going to be perfect when you start. Use a longer stitch length. Take your time. Make sure the lining is nicely inside. Okay, now it's going to get bulky here. But we're just going to carefully every time there's an angle, we stop, leave our needle in, and then reposition. It's going to be bulky here because of that strap that's inside. And sometimes I'll push my project through. Just got to be careful when you're doing that. If you feel like you're getting stuck, you can always use that hump jumper as well. There's just not a lot of room here. Okay, back up. And now again. Now we're going across the front of our bag, trying to make it nice and perfect. Again, it's thick there. And we're back at the beginning. Okay, we have finished our top stitching, and I think I'm going to install a little handmade little thingy here. I can't do it here because I don't have access, so this is something that I would definitely do beforehand. When the panel is done, and before you start sewing it together, that's when I would put it. Okay. Comes with a little metal piece that you can use as a guide. And now I'm just going to go pull out the lining, and then I'm going to use my stitch ripper just to rip that fabric. And then I can put my little handmade sign, take that metal piece, there we go. How cute is that? Perfect. So now we no longer need access to the hole that's in the interior pocket. So you can go ahead and top stitch that closed. And I'm just going to do some finishing ups. We're going to put our little, what's it called? Adjustable slider on. So I put it on, in through, in and out, go through the rectangle ring, and then I will open that up and put it back through the other side, and then back through, just like that. Now you can sew it, you can rivet it, either way works just fine. So I'm just going to put some clips on it for now, and then I'm going to put my zipper back on. Perfect. And then we can put our little cap on. And if you've ever done these caps before, I like to have a little precision toolkit. I actually got this at the dollar store. So a little star, I think it's a, oh, I don't even know, 1/16 maybe star. You need it very tiny. I'm just going to singe it off. And some people like to use a little bit of Gorilla Glue. They like to put it down inside of the cap just for extra security. I've never had a problem with it, but it's always good to be a little bit cautious, especially if you maybe are selling these to people. So I just put a little bit in there, and now all I do is I fold back the one side of the zipper, and then you fold back the other side, and then you just shove it on inside. And if you get really good at it, it looks nice and even and inserted. And then I'm just going to take my little set screw it should go in fairly easy. So if it's not going in easily, then it is not, like the threading isn't going in properly. It's just not until the very end where you gotta really give it some force. And then it should set fine just like that. And now we have this beautiful little detail. It looks so professional and beautiful. Okay, and we're done. How easy was that? Please tell me it was easy. You enjoyed? Please tell me you enjoyed. If you stayed to the very end, comment down below. Send me photos of your finished bag. I want to see them. I want to share and inspire others. And, you know, if you do take your bag out into the wild, again, please show us, where are you going to be traveling with your new Janome project? So thank you so much for watching. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys.